Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're not digging through ancient texts or, some dusty old archives. Nope, we are diving headfirst into the vents and corridors of a hugely popular online game to uncover a legend that was born and raised by its own community. We're talking about Molten, a monster who's become a genuine piece of digital folklore.
So, our story kicks off on Polis. You know, that snowy, kind of isolated research base from Among Us. It's a map that's just packed with secrets, but the biggest one of all seems to be bubbling up from those weird, glowing lava pools. For years, players have been asking, is there something else down there?
And, well, if you believe the stories, the answer is a big, resounding yes. YouTuber Cherry, who's basically one of the main chroniclers of this whole thing, puts it pretty plainly. There's a massive monster down there, and his name is Molten. So who or what is this creature haunting the lava pits of Polis? That's what we're here to do. Think of us as digital detectives for this explainer. We're going to piece together all the evidence, from the narrative videos to the community-run wikis that have popped up, all to build a complete picture of Molten, the unofficial lava imposter of Polis. Right, so to even begin to understand Walt Mole, we have to start with the person who seems to run into him the most. The videos from YouTuber Chari really are the main eyewitness accounts we have, and they basically form the bedrock of this entire legend. And what's really fascinating here is the dynamic between them. Chari actually describes it as a love-hate relationship. So Molten isn't seen as just some pure evil bad guy. There's an ambiguity there, a complexity, and honestly, that's what makes this whole legend so darn compelling. And this complicated relationship, it gets put to the test in the most epic way possible. Cherry talks about witnessing this incredible elemental showdown, a legit battle between Molten and his arch-nemesis, a creature named Aquatic. I mean, it doesn't get more classic than this: fire versus water. This rivalry is basically the engine driving the whole legend. You've got Molten on one side, the self-proclaimed imposter of lava, living in the Polis pools, and on the other, you've got Aquatic, the imposter of water, who apparently shows up from broken pipes just to fight him. This never-ending war is where so much of the drama in these stories comes from. Okay, so eyewitness accounts are one thing, but to really get who Molten Block is, we've got to dig into the lore that the community has so carefully built around him. Who is he? Or maybe the better question is, what is he? According to the fan wikis, Molten is a giant being made of pure lava that lives deep inside Polis. And let me tell you, his personality is just as fiery as his body. He's described as aggressive, arrogant, selfish, and stubborn. He thinks he's the only one who matters and basically wants to destroy everyone else. And when they say giant, they are not kidding. The lore puts his height somewhere between 250 and 300 meters. To give you some perspective, that's almost as tall as the Eiffel Tower. We're not talking about some regular crewmate-sized imposter. This thing is an absolute titan. But come on, a monster this huge has to have an origin story, right? Of course. And this is where the community's creativity just goes into overdrive. They've come up with two really different, competing theories about how Molten came to be in the first place. Okay, let's break these down. Theory 1 says he was an imposter named Mo, the very first one ever thrown into the lava. Some potions saved him from burning, and he grew to his massive size by, consuming the bodies of other ejected players, eventually getting a new lava body. Then there's Theory 2, which is honestly a bit more tragic. It says he was a crewmate named Mike who found a magic crystal. When his crewmates didn't believe him, they tossed him and his friends into the lava. There, their bodies all merged together, and his magic transformed then into the monster we now know as Molten. So, we've got a giant, arrogant lava monster with two possible, very different pasts. But, a character is also defined by their relationships. So now we're going to explore Molten's really complicated network of enemies and, believe it or not, allies. And this brings us right back to Chari. In a totally shocking twist, after being built up as this terrifying, dangerous monster, Molten reaches out to the one crewmate he seems to torment the most, sending a message right in the game's chat. Chari, I need your help. I mean, why, right? Why would this colossal, arrogant being ask a tiny little crewmate for help? The fan wiki actually gives us a clue. It says that Molten has a strange liking to Chari and will sometimes even try to save him. It's this paradox that's so central to his character. He's a monster, for sure, but he's not just a simple villain.
So when you map it all out, his relationships really do define him. You've got Aquatic, his elemental rival. Then there's this character, Sire Sorrel, a super powerful hacker who actually managed to capture him at one point. And then, of course, there's Chari, the crewmate he has this bizarre, almost protective bond with. These three characters are basically the pillars of his entire fan-made universe. Now, here's what makes this legend feel so modern and cool. It's interactive. The community didn't just stop at writing stories about Molten. No, they created a way for players to supposedly call him forth themselves, a specific in-game ritual to awaken the beast.
But, before we dive into the steps, the sources all come with a very, very clear warning. As one wiki just bluntly puts it, but careful, he will eat you. So, maybe proceed with caution on this one.
Okay, you ready? Here is the 4-step ritual, straight from the lore. First, you have to be an imposter on Polis. Second, you have to take out a crewmate right next to the lava. Apparently the scent of blood is what draws him out. Third, you gotta head over to the temperature node and crank it all the way down to -666. And for the final step, you walk into the lava yourself.
And this is just brilliant, because it shows the internal logic of the lore. Dropping the temperature to that specific number isn't random. It's a direct threat. Molten, who literally needs the heat of the lava to survive, sees this as an attack on his home, and so he emerges to defend it. It all connects. So, we've gone through the stories, the identity, the relationships, even the summoning ritual. But what does it all really mean? What's the real legacy of a monster who doesn't technically even exist in the game's code? At the end of the day, Molten is way more than just a monster. He is a perfect example of modern folklore. He wasn't created by some big company in a boardroom. He was created, developed, and defined entirely by a community of players. Through videos and wikis and stories, they all worked together to breathe life into what was just an empty patch of lava on a digital map. So let's recap the big takeaways here. First, Molten is a 100% fan-created legend. Second, his identity is just fascinatingly complex, with these competing backstories and very strange alliances. Third, the lore isn't just something you read, it's participatory, inviting you to try and summon him. And maybe most importantly, his story is just this powerful testament to how online communities can come together to build their very own myths. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we all spend more and more time in these shared digital worlds, the line between being a player and being a storyteller just keeps getting blurrier. So it begs the question, in this huge, interconnected landscape of the internet, what corner will the next great legend come crawling out of?